You've all heard of comfort food, the kind of food you like to eat regardless of its nutritional value, but it just makes you feel good. Did you know movies operate the same way? That's right, we're going to talk about the movies that we like regardless of critical praise, box office totals, and overall audience reception. These are the movies we love for being what they are, why they are, and how they are. These are our comfort flicks.
We can promise you ghouls of all descriptions.
There are no bloomin' ghosts here.
But there will be. We'll invent them.
Their host doesn't want them disappointed. But when you fake a haunting, the real ghosts get mad.
What is going on here?
Love is in the air. There's nothing like a vacation to give your spirits a lift. High spirits.
Since we're on the subject of ghosts, today's subject of comfort flicks actually comes from director Neil Jordan. Most people remember him for The Crying Game and, of course, probably one of the best vampire movies of all time, Interview with the Vampire. This film is, well, it's kind of one of his least known, probably even one of his least liked, which is really a shame. It holds like about 29% of Rotten Tomatoes, which frankly I think is woefully misjudged. It's a film called High Spirits.
Well, the movie came out in 1988. It's basically an old castle that's a hotel, in essence. And they need to drum up some money. The people who are running it or living there, they're going to get, their mortgage is going to be bought out. So they need like a lot of money and a few, you know, that kind of story.
That old scenario,
so,
we got to come up with a get-rich-quick scheme to...
Yeah, like we need money fast. So it's not a really great-looking place. So they say, oh, well, it's haunted.
It's haunted.
Come and see the ghost.
Yeah.
Woo! And they, of course, fake all the ghosts. They got the mirror tricks. They put somebody in a suit of armor. Like, they're just shenanigans.
They dangle their co-workers
these are like people
overhead.
who've never done this before, and they're all just portraying the ghosts in this place to bring in some tourists. Of course, American tourists, because it's always American tourists. The thing they don't realize is there are ghosts.
Yeah, the castle is actually haunted. The ghosts are fully aware of the problems that they have, and they hate the fact that the guy who's foreclosing on it intends to transport the castle to California. God knows how. Even Peter O'Toole's character.
Like, how are you going to do that?
How are you going to do that? But so they said,
no respectable ghost would live in California.
He basically says, you know, let's give them what they asked for, which...
And boy, do they ever.
They crank it up to 11.
So, fingers together.
I mean, this is kind of Beetlejuice
level, yeah.
They're a little saucy at times. They go...
Sometimes they get really hardcore.
I mean...
Scary in some spots.
We're talking like Haunted Mansion 99 plus.
It's like the idea that the entire family of it's an ancestral castle, and I think it's just like all the ancestors of their family
like
just
all of them were there.
Just kind of live there. Just one side plot regarding one of the ghosts, one of the American tourists. Oh, an advance warning: this film does have a Gutenberg in it. Damn you, stonecutters! And also a really wonky Irish accent, courtesy of Daryl Hannah.
You get murdered every night?
Every night until last night.
I've heard worse accents, but...
I think I heard a worse one. Julia Roberts did a worse
Julia Roberts did do a worse accent.
Not good. Especially when you actually have an Irish actor, like very Irish actor. We'll talk about him later. But
I do find it fascinating though that one of the primary actors is an English actor that they have running an Irish castle is Peter O'Toole. But you kind of forgive it because Peter O'Toole is probably
amazing.
He is incredible in this movie. He is at his most slosh perfection.
I truly believe he was intoxicated most of the movie, and that they were just like keep going with it because the character is always drunk too
and suicidal.
There is a God.
Yeah, he tries to kill himself like multiple
times.
But the way he reacts to everything is so casual and just like he just got blitzed like 5 seconds earlier. But this is the way Peter O'Toole always does it. So it's okay. And it's like how this man must have been so much talent that he could be pissed drunk, be charming at the same time. So we're not talking like Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa, drunk asshole. No, we're talking drunk, but you still loved him. And when he actually gets kind of serious, like when he actually talks about why they love the castle and why they're literally breaking their necks to fake the ghosts in order to bring in people, you feel for him. Like, you're like, this guy really loves this place, and it's just sweet. And
not just him, actually all the people who work at the castle, because you find out that the entire economy of their town is reliant on this castle. This movie actually has a wonderful ensemble cast of all the Irish that live in this castle, and they're all funny characters. Even if you don't really remember their names, they have such great personalities and great interplay, not just with each other, but with the Americans.
The Irish ones do.
He says the Irish ones do.
Don't.
Now, what do they or don't they?
Well,
You don't shake and no, do you?
look! It may be no more than a local disturbance in the extra-planar ether.
Eat me bollocks.
it's like the one guy where there's this very elaborate sequence involving a puppeteering show.
Yeah.
He's still drinking at the same time.
He's still
all this
drinking.
stuff is happening, and he's still drinking.
Yeah, and
but not like in like more in the well, screw it, like.
Yeah, and of course, and I think later on, Martin Ferrer, actually, the guy who played Gennaro from Jurassic Park is in this. He plays a
the lawyer
paranormal investigator, and he keeps insisting, ignore it. If you have any weird things, just ignore it. Well, this big, crazy, elaborate, and actually pretty traumatized. For me as a kid, this sequence freaked me out. Involving
It is a freaky sequence for kids.
For kid, yeah.
Adults are like...
Well, this whole crazy thing happens. The entire room is drenched in water, and at the very end, they make it out, and they just...
Bloody good thing we ignored it, huh?
Beverly D'Angelo,
Yeah.
who, of course, you're going to know.
You could tell she may have been one of the actors, along with Steve Guttenberg and even Daryl Hannah, who may have been brought in, or maybe been mandated by studio in order to...
But she still does a good job.
D'Angelo is perfectly cast.
She's cast as a bitch.
One could even
She's a bitch.
It's pretty much the anti-Ellen Griswold.
Yeah. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
But then Gutenberg is totally the anti-Clark. No, the Griswold family at this castle would be the best thing ever.
Oh my God, yes.
That would be so cool.
This is what European Vacation should have been.
Really
That would have been great. But we also got, and she's always welcome no matter what, Jennifer Tilly is in this movie.
She's so adorable.
It's not even a substantial role. She's kind of
awesome.
like a sex kitten kind of character, but she's a sweet kind of.
Sweet.
She's incredibly
She's totally
sweet,
flirting,
and has no filter. And the object of her affection is a novitiate priest played by Peter Gallagher. It's not even like a substantial love story. It's one that you
It's one you're kind of rooting for. And even the ghosts at one point they did that on purpose.
Oh, they totally did.
They kind of help them get together in a way.
These freaky ass Jawa nuns kind of pushing
those
them.
were creepy.
Those were legit creepy.
I get the message!
Actually, what transpires next is just a series of scenes of seeing how the ghosts are just fucking with everybody.
And they're not doing it in the malicious, for the most part, malicious way. They are more just messing with them.
Mm-hmm.
However, we do have to talk about the one ghost, our favorite ghost.
Oh, this was a performance by an actor that no one knew who he was now. We love him now, even more so. One of the most meme-worthy actors of our age. But man, people need to watch this movie just for this performance alone. This is an early pre-Darkman performance of Liam Neeson.
Oh God, what a woman!
And he plays a ghost who, for 200 years, has been on a loop murdering his wife, played by Daryl Hannah. And he ends up meeting Beverly D'Angelo's character, and he is immediately smitten with her.
I suppose watching other men's wives in the bathtub is no big deal either.
Sure, it's a grand thing if the wife happens to be you.
And he is maniacally chasing her everywhere.
Well, the situation turns out they do a loop. It's like every night they do the loop of where he killed her, and I assume
Daryl Hannah, by the way.
Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Kills her because he thought she was cheating on him, and she just didn't like him. When this happens, Gutenberg is in the room, and he's drunk off his ass, and he steps in and kind of breaks the cycle. That's how him and Daryl Hannah's ghost kind of start having their little plot line. Well, it happens again. The loop happens, but Beverly D'Angelo's there, and she's seeing it, and she tries to kick Liam Neeson in the nuts to stop him.
Which, given how tall he is, that must have been a hell of a climb.
Yeah, well, that actually gets him to break the loop, and he's very impressed.
For you, I missed my wedding for the first time in years. That's how much I want you. Sure, I know I'm a ghost and a murderer, but forget about all that.
He is so turned on by her
He is
trying
crazy
to kick him
on
in the
her.
nuts, and he keeps showing up and just chasing after her, just aggressively, but screaming lovingly things.
Yeah,
He's kind of like a Pepe Le Pew, but he doesn't actually grab her. He doesn't hurt her.
Yeah, he actually doesn't go that far.
No.
Yeah, we all
He is a
know.
ghost.
Oh, we all know Pepe Le Pew was going to go all the way.
Yeah, no. Not, but like the pursuing
Yeah.
and the sweet nothings and everything, that, yes.
Yeah, and actually it does come to the point where even Beverly D'Angelo is able to help him kind of curb his hostile tendencies.
Yeah,
Any good ghost movie always kind of has their own little rules that they set in motion. This one had some fascinating rules regarding the interplay between the living and the dead. They actually have like a thing called scalping, where a ghost will actually like very sensually like pass through the living, and
They have a book of rules.
they even have a rule where on All Hallows Eve, ghosts can become corporeal, but
Which American Horror Story actually took the same idea.
kind of did
No,
actually.
they did, literally. It was
Yeah.
All Hallows Eve, ghosts can become corporeal.
Mm-hmm. But this one kind of takes it a much more romantic route, where it ultimately becomes a test because it said, "He who toughs with the spirit finds only the grave." But you discover it's a test to see how devoted the living loves the dead.
Yeah, because I mean, the idea is that if you've loved somebody who's passed, what would you do to have them back? And it's kind of like a pseudo test of what do you really care about versus what do you think you care about.
Exactly. It is actually a pretty funny sex scene where they're going at it.
I'm in love. Stop. Stop. Oh, don't listen to me, Jack. Go on.
Just idiots. Martin, Liam Neeson, he follows the rules to the letter.
Though there was one scene where he actually pops up in Sharon's bed.
But that was not All Hallows Eve. He was
That's
still
true.
non-corporeal. No, he was just flirting.
He just wanted a scalping. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, he wanted to do like first base. he just wanted to go like maybe to second base. That was like, oh, we're safe right there. We don't go no more.
Well, he kind of overstepped his bounds when he showed up in her shower and started rubbing her back.
Sim Colum Kill. That hurts my Goldrick.
Is when she realized that Liam Neeson and she starts screaming.
And he's rubbing my back and it felt good. I should have known it wasn't you.
Damn, woman!
She and Gutenberg don't have a good relationship.
No, they really don't.
I think that's my only big niggle is that I wish I knew more about their relationship. Like, how long have they been married? Why did she marry him? Because clearly she does not like him, but he's still pining for her almost.
He's
Like,
still very proactive. He's trying to make the marriage work.
He's very proactive. He's trying, but he does clearly have an obsession with sex because that comes up multiple times.
Maybe if we made love more often, you wouldn't need your stupid pills.
Always has to take her migraine medicine. And, which she clearly is taking migraine medicine, meaning she probably actually gets migraines. But then totally popping Valium
like crazy.
Obviously, they're just supposed to be a strained relationship, so you don't feel bad when both are going with ghosts, basically. But I kind of wish there was a little more weight to it. Like, I could not see why she was even married to Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Like, if he had money, if it was for power,
or was it like a Westworld situation where he was just a really talented person who worked for her dad?
Yeah, like,
maybe.
Why? Because her dad's a dick.
Yeah.
That's just outright. She's very emotionally abusive to him.
Extremely.
But you also kind of go, yeah, well, he's kind of a dumbass.
Fortunately, there's a lot of things that kind of upstage that, like especially everything involving Castle Plunkett, involving all the ghosts, everything else that doesn't really revolve that. And even then, that's something that as soon as he figures out that they're not there for their honeymoon, but more for it moves on, and once it gets into the whole story with him and Daryl Hannah,
that's when it actually gets better for his story, because the whole like annoyed.
It gets
it's very weird. Like, you don't know who you're supposed to vote for.
In hindsight, it gets really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does, but they kind of move out of that. I think they purposely made it uncomfortable so that you didn't mind when they broke up. Because you shouldn't be like rooting for people to break up. But in this case, you kind of are.
You kind of are.
But you also have all the other side characters, the family.
I mean, Martin Ferrero, I believe the actor's name.
That's his name.
Him and his family. His wife actually played by Fawlty Towers' Connie Booth. And the thing that's hilarious about him is that in the beginning, he's a paranormal investigator. Yeah, he's a dick because, of course, he's there to
debunk them.
He's trying to debunk them, and in the beginning he's doing a pretty good job. But then to see him go to near madness as time goes on, when the ghost starts showing up, to the point where he's like,
"I can find you."
He gets very intense. But actually, the fun part is his wife and kids all really support him. They all work together very well. Like, they're a legit family, and they have each other's backs.
You get the feeling that after this whole experience here, they're going to actually ask if they can go back.
Well, the kids seem to have a lot of fun. And they're like teenage boys, but they're They're pretty entertaining. Like,
Yeah.
Not annoying kids, as you sometimes get in these films.
It seems like it's going to be a crowded movie because for a big ensemble movie, it does tend to have that where you don't get a chance to enjoy some characters on the side. You even get times with Peter O'Toole's mother, and she's a delightful
fun.
character. She's a fun character. Actually, she does a really good job with Steve Guttenberg, like helping him understand.
She's the one that can speak to, has always seen the ghosts. And always
Yeah, because
spoken.
her husband is a ghost, and her and him actually have a really good functional relationship.
Yeah, it's actually funny. It was like, you know ghosts? I'm married to one.
I'm married to one.
And she's seriously drunk the whole time, but it's really entertaining.
So that's where you know Peter O'Toole gets it.
Yeah, actually, the funny part is I could see that being his mom. Like, there's
Yeah.
no question.
There you are! Taking the easy way out, you naughty boy!
Mother, this is not easy. It is very, very difficult.
Those two are related.
Yeah, and the movie even takes the time for Peter O'Toole to have resolution with his dad as well.
Yeah.
Just to find out that it's not that he hated his dad, it's just the fact that he died so suddenly that he never got a chance to really impart any wisdom to him to help him know how to deal with this situation of handling this
I think
hotel.
that's also one thing that maybe there might have been a cut scene where there's an explanation why the ghost never talked to Peter O'Toole. Like, they clearly are okay with the mom, but why wouldn't they talk to him and help him out?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's a cut scene.
Well, actually, it is a fact. There's not a lot that I was trying to do some research,
Yeah,
try to find some really good stuff, and Neil Jordan apparently has his version of the film like locked away, like in some archive or something, or maybe just in his own personal vault, and he to this day has not made any intention to release this cut. And I know there's not much of a demand for it right now, which frankly there should be. But
Can we have that instead of the Snyder cut? Because I really just don't give two shits
yeah,
about that.
I'm sorry. I'd rather have the butthole cut than the Snyder cut. That's how little I care about the Snyder cut.
If it's
please,
between the butthole cut and high spirits cut, I'm still going to go with high spirits cut.
Oh, I'm totally going to want the high spirits
I
cut
don't
over the
need
butthole
the
cut.
No,
I'll take the buttholes over Henry Cavill's lack of mustache.
I'll just watch Fallout. The mustache works.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only way that we're ever going to get Neil Jordan to ever budge on the notion of releasing any kind of cut is to extend awareness about this film. And to us, it's an underrated gem, and it's honestly really funny. It has a great cast, and it is really a love letter to Ireland. You really kind of feel Neil Jordan's love of Ireland in this movie, and I feel like more people should definitely get, especially if you love Liam Neeson, you need to watch this
If you
movie.
like those silly 80s films that, you know what I'm talking about, like Porky's type, or, all that stuff where balls to the walls, just craziness, shenanigans, really big ensemble cast of people you're like, oh my god, it's so-and-so. This is one of them, and it really deserves a little more love. I mean, if anything, Peter O'Toole's amazing.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's amazing. The effects are actually pretty entertaining,
The
too.
effects seriously hold
They're
up
pretty good.
as well.
I mean, there's some model work that's clearly model work.
Model work, but good puppeteering work.
There's makeup effects are pretty solid. Actually, the ghost stuff, I mean, I think they harnessed it better in the movie Ghost.
Well,
but,
this was actually kind of a precursor to Ghost.
Yeah, but like you could see like where this started it, maybe like that idea, and then they like perfected it later with probably with a better budget too.
Yeah.
But it's a fun spirit-based movie with lots of people in it, and it is funny. There's a lot of funny stuff in it.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful film, and I think the purpose of this is to get more people to want to get around to watching it. It is actually available in a lot of different aspects. We got it on DVD, so definitely seek it out. It actually make for great Halloween viewing, to be honest.
I mean, you watch your super horror stuff, and you watch some screwball comedy horror. Well, not horror, but like spirits.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a haunted house.
Right next to Hocus Pocus and Beetlejuice. This one belongs nice. It fits nicely in between.
Different kinds of haunted houses.
Yeah,
Go for it.
exactly.
Not everything's got to be poltergeist.
Yeah. I'd ask if you agree or disagree, but since this film isn't as widely known, you're gonna have a hard time doing one or the other. Cool if you agree, definitely. But in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, click. Thou shalt be served.